honestly believe that this person, not even a person, this beast deserved the ultimate punishment of death.
Demands a life sentence.
Introducing Mark Lutonsky, aged 52, who faced charges for the appalling slaying of Kevin Bacon, his Grindr date, on December 24, 2019. Lutonsky connected with Bacon on the Grindr dating platform. Bacon's remains were later discovered in the basement of Lutonsky's residence in Bennington Township on December 28, 2019. This discovery occurred following a missing person report by Bacon's roommate, who became alarmed when Bacon missed their Christmas breakfast gathering. During the legal proceedings, Lutonsky confessed to the brutal crime, acknowledging that he stabbed Bacon from behind and then slit his throat.
Did you use a knife to stab Mr. Bacon?
Yes, I did.
Adding to the horror, Lutonsky admitted to cannibalizing portions of Bacon's body, including consuming one of his testicles.
After Mr. Bacon was dead, did you remove part of his body, specifically his testicles?
Yes, I did.
In the courtroom, Bacon's family conveyed their deep sorrow.
But because of someone who decided to take our son's life, that isn't the case for us. Only 25 years old and had a great career as a hairstylist and hadn't been able to graduate from U of M in psychology, even though they were kind enough to honor him his degree. Such a short life for our son, who had a lot to do in this world still.
Prior to this incident, Lutonsky's history with law enforcement was already tainted due to previous encounters. In several instances, individuals narrowly escaped from Lutonsky's residence, portraying him as a terrifying and perilous individual. Despite these distressing episodes, Lutonsky evaded charges, resulting in missed chances to avert the later catastrophe. Ultimately, he received a life sentence without the prospect of parole. The proceedings shed light on Lutonsky's mental health struggles, encompassing major depression, paranoid schizophrenia, and signs of a personality disorder. His former wife and ex-husband were cognizant of his mental health history, which had previously necessitated hospitalization. Despite this, they were unable to compel him to pursue consistent treatment, leading to his discontinuation of medication. In the courtroom, the judge addressed Lutonsky, who displayed no remorse as he received his sentence.
Serious sentence, that of life with no possibility of parole.
While Lutonsky's actions might be partly attributed to his mental health issues, they seem less incomprehensible when contrasted with the bewildering conduct of Armin Meiwes. In March 2001, Meiwes placed a post on a website no longer in existence, targeting those with cannibalistic desires. He was searching for a volunteer ready to be both killed and eaten. Answering this unsettling advertisement was Bernd-Jürgen Armando Brandes, a 43-year-old engineer hailing from Berlin. The two convened at Meiwes' residence, where they documented a chilling video. In this video, Brandes agreed to the amputation and consumption of his penis. Adding to the tragedy, Brandes consumed a fatal mix of pills and cough syrup. Following the amputation, Meiwes fatally stabbed Brandes in the throat. He described, "Then I took the knife, held it firmly, and after a moment's hesitation, I slashed his throat."
I took the knife, grasped it in my hand, and after hesitating some more, I cut his throat with it.
He subsequently hung Brandes' body on a meat hook. Over the next 10 months, Meiwes methodically dismembered and consumed the body, concealing the remains in his freezer beneath stacks of pizza boxes. The horrifying case surfaced in December 2002 when a college student stumbled upon Meiwes' online advertisements for new victims and alerted law enforcement. In January 2004, Meiwes was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison, a verdict that attracted extensive media coverage. At his trial, Meiwes confessed to the cannibalization of Brandes and voiced remorse for his deeds, expressing hope that his story would discourage others from emulating his actions.
That this can never be the right way. The wishes, the fantasies you have, that these can never ever be fulfilled.
Nevertheless, in April 2005, a call for a retrial was issued, leading to Meiwes being reconvicted for murder in May 2006. A psychological evaluation suggested that he continued to harbor fantasies of eating young individuals and posed a risk of reoffending. Meiwes ultimately received a sentence of life imprisonment for his atrocious acts. These next senior convicts showed absolutely no remorse in court whatsoever. Meet Jeremy Lee Moody and Christine Moody, a couple from North Carolina who identified as white supremacists. They were accused of the savage killings of a registered sex offender, Marvin Parker, and his wife, Gretchen Dawn Parker, in July 2013. The gruesome event came to light after a neighbor dialed 911 to report a disturbance at the Parkers' home. Upon arrival, sheriff's deputies discovered Marvin and Gretchen Parker deceased, having been shot at close range with a .380 handgun and stabbed. Security camera footage led to the apprehension of Jeremy, age 30, and Christine, age 36. They were both charged with double homicide, abduction, and illegal possession of a firearm. Yet, it was their chaotic and irrational behavior in the courtroom that truly astonished everyone. At their sentencing, the Moodys initially pleaded for 30-year sentences, hoping to reunite with their children and age together.
Christine and I, so we can still have a chance to grow old together as husband and wife.
However, their true nature was exposed when Judge Lee Alford pronounced consecutive life sentences. Their reaction was shocking.
Their demands a life sentence.
Jeremy brazenly insulted the victim's family with unspeakable names. Christine joined in, showing a similar absence of remorse and stating,
"Do you have any regrets?"
I have no regrets. Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life.
Had to do it over again. I'd kill more.
Moody's admitted they had another sex offender in their sights for a third attack, but their arrest prevented this. Their attorneys argued that both Jeremy and Christine's histories of childhood sexual abuse were driving factors in their quest for retribution against those who caused such harm. Harold Morgan, a psychologist who assessed Jeremy, noted their belief in a divine mandate to exterminate all sex offenders. The Moodys were also associated with Crew 41, a white supremacist group notorious for targeting sex offenders. Nevertheless, they refuted any connection between Crew 41 and the Parker murders. Ultimately, the murderous duo received consecutive life sentences.
Their demands a life sentence.
While the Moodys' behavior in court was indeed shocking, it pales in comparison to the absolute chaos unleashed by Joseph DeAngelo during his court appearances. Joseph James DeAngelo Jr., born on November 8, 1945, is a notorious American serial killer who wreaked havoc across California between 1974 and 1986. His reign of terror included committing at least 13 murders, 51 sexual assaults, and 120 burglaries, creating a climate of fear and destruction. DeAngelo was known by various aliases in the media, such as the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist, and the Night Stalker. The protracted investigation spanned decades, with law enforcement painstakingly combing through a myriad of suspects and misleading leads. The major breakthrough came in 2018 when, thanks to DNA evidence in the emerging field of forensic genetic genealogy, DeAngelo was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder. Further investigation linked DeAngelo to the Visalia Ransacker cases. However, the real astonishment was not just in the heinous nature of his crimes, but in DeAngelo's astonishing conduct during his sentencing. Due to the statute of limitations on rape cases pre-2017 in California, DeAngelo could not be prosecuted for the sexual assaults he committed in the 1970s. Nonetheless, he faced prosecution for 13 related kidnapping and abduction incidents. In June 2020, DeAngelo entered a guilty plea to multiple murder and kidnapping charges as part of a plea deal that saved him from facing the death penalty. Despite this, the district attorney maintained that he was deserving of capital punishment.
I honestly believe that this person, not even a person, this beast, deserved the ultimate punishment of death.
Numerous family members of his victims delivered heartfelt and emotional impact statements.
My father caught him twice staring my bedroom window and tried to chase him down, but was unable to catch him. He was wearing a ski mask and pointing a gun at me, saying that he was taking me with him and that if I made any noise, he would kill me. DeAngelo fired 2 shots, hitting my dad. He then turned the gun on me as I was down on the ground. My only thought was, this is it. And put my head down, expecting him to kill me.
Following the poignant victim impact statements at the sentencing, DeAngelo's response was a brief apology.
Listened to all your statements, each one of them, and I'm really sorry to everyone I've hurt. Thank you, Your Honor.
On August 21st, 2020, Joseph James DeAngelo was handed down multiple consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. Yet, just when it seemed that the courtroom behavior couldn't become more extreme, another convict exceeded the wild antics displayed by DeAngelo, that being Alex Murdaugh, a distinguished personal injury lawyer and successor to a formidable legal dynasty in South Carolina. On June 7, 2021, Murdaugh made a disturbing discovery. His wife, Maggie, and son, Paul, were found dead near the dog kennels on their extensive family estate. More than a year later, with no arrests made, Murdaugh was charged in July 2022 with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possessing a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Murdaugh's actions were already appalling, but his demeanor in the courtroom was even more chilling. Throughout the trial, he maintained his innocence, yet state prosecutors laid out a damning case against him. They proposed that Murdaugh had executed his wife and son using a rifle and shotgun, purportedly to divert attention from his financial wrongdoings and elicit sympathy.
It is overwhelming, and it shows this man to be a cunning manipulator, a man who placed himself above all others, including his family.
The case hinged on indirect evidence like cell phone records and gunshot residue analysis, as the murder weapon was never recovered. Nonetheless, a pivotal piece of evidence was a video recorded by Paul at the dog kennels, which contradicted Murdaugh's statements regarding his location on the night of the murders.
Quit, Cash. Come. Quit. It's okay. Come here.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Murdaugh's defense attorneys portrayed him as a devoted husband and father, unjustly singled out by the authorities. Yet, the mounting evidence painted a different picture. In a daring move, Murdaugh took the stand in his defense, admitting his presence at the dog kennels before the murders and his initial deception to investigators, attributing it to his long-standing addiction to prescription painkillers. He also confessed to embezzling funds from his clients to support his drug habit. After 20 months of denials, he conceded during the trial that he had been untruthful.
I don't think I was capable of reason, and I lied about being down there.
However, he continued to assert that these misdeeds did not equate to guilt, and tearfully insisted that he could never intentionally harm his wife or son.
I'm innocent. I would never hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never hurt my son, Pawpaw.
In spite of his assertions, the jury convicted him on all counts after less than 3 hours of deliberation. Murdaugh remained expressionless as the judge delivered his sentence.
The murder indictments in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh, I sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life for the murder of Paul Murdaugh, whom you probably loved so much.
He now faces a sentence of 30 years to life, without the possibility of parole, as the prosecution opted not to seek the death penalty. Thanks for watching this video. If you found these court cases shocking, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more crazy courtroom cases.